suspect. Don't think you can get out being questioned just because you're a bear.
I'm innocent, I promise.
Save it for the judge. It's a magnifying glass. A big one.
How come you don't have one of those?
Why? Because I'm a detective? Should I start smoking a pipe too?
You couldn't pull off a pipe. I don't know what that drink is, but I bet it's 99% sugar.
I'd read you the ingredients, but there's nothing written on the can.
That's even worse.
What's that big book on the desk?
Looks like something Fifi's been writing.
Is it a clue?
I hope not. It's just a bunch of notes about her microbiology experiments.
What's that big book on the
Looks
desk?
like
Is it
something. I hope it's just a bunch of notes about her.
a pretty ornate window with a great view of the lake.
We're supposed to be looking for clues, not assessing the real estate value.
And over here, you'll see the owners use sheets of paper to block out all that unnecessary natural light. A simple trick, but it really transforms the space. Fifi's got something pinned up here.
What is all this?
That's you, Sally.
What? I do not look like that. Do I?
Is that supposed to be me? Why do I look so angry?
That's just the face you make when you're thinking. Does make you wonder, though. When did Fifi draw all this? It's Detective Hawkshaw. Looks like Fitz.
Did you notice who isn't on here?
Freya?
Mm-hmm. And Fifi herself.
Boxes. Of stuff.
It looks like a microscope. A big one.
Can I touch it? I'm not sure this is a microscope.
I guess
The
that's...
4 lenses, so they must each have a specific position.
That's the one.
Hey, not bad. Sounds like it unlocked.
Yeah, it's built on top of a little metal box. There's a book in here. Crystal chandeliers. Extra fancy.
I don't know. They just seem old-fashioned to me. Plus, they're kinda dusty.
A book. My book.
And what's in it?
Pages.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother has not been in the library for some time.
Penelope knows about birds. You should ask her instead.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about something. There's a plant mentioned on this page, see? Do you have any? In the greenhouse?
No, I don't grow that anymore. I've tried, in the past. It's incredibly difficult, even for me. I could never get it to live more than a couple of weeks. Looks like someone doesn't want you to read that book.
That's the main thing making me want to read it. A pillow with a paw print pattern.
It's a cushion.
Yeah, but that doesn't alliterate. Not the kind of lamp I choose for my bedroom, but fair enough.
It's cool. Looks like old mining equipment or something.
It's a little glass box.
I think it's a vivarium.
Come again?
See the leaves and twigs in there? Might have been for keeping insects.
Freya's plants. They must not need sunlight? Do you think this was always supposed to be a bedroom?
I don't know. It is kind of a weird shape.
No windows either. It's a little wooden box for paintbrushes.
To the casual observer, maybe. They're not. Looks like they're part of some kind of lock mechanism. Nothing.
Did you find a hint on those scraps of paper? It looks like a ripped-up jigsaw puzzle.
That was
Each brush has various characteristics: height, bristle shape, paint color, handle color. The information we need is on the paper, once it's been rearranged.
still locked.
So, the paper jigsaw puzzle shows there's a couple of brushes with each characteristic, but only one perfect solution.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each character.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each characteristic, but only.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each character.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each character.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each.
Still locked.
So, there's a couple of brushes with each.
I did it. What do I win?
Not bad. What was in the box?
Just a photograph. Well, most of a photograph. That painting is really something.
Why would you want it looming over your bed like that?
Maybe Freya enjoyed the atmosphere it creates.
The atmosphere of chaos and oppression?
Hang on. There's a smaller version down by the floor.
It's a photograph. It's a fish, I think?
I think it looks more like a whale.
Fine, it's a whale.
Could also be a shark.
Do you think this was always supposed to be a bedroom?
I don't know.
No windows either.
Freya's bear.
Looks pretty depressed.
He's had a rough couple of days.
Drawings, taped up on the wall.
What's that one on the left?
Looks like two people standing together in a garden. One of them's holding a red rose. Even though we're halfway up a tower, someone's been tracking in mud from outside.
Painting supplies.
That's weird.
What did you find in the drawers?
Nothing. They're completely empty. Puffer fish?
Yes. It's also a lamp, for some reason. A little hand-painted statue.
How can you tell it's hand-painted?
Well, the paints are right there on the desk. Also, I mean, no offense, but you can just tell. The entire room is made of wood.
Oh, it's not just. I think it's the actual hull of a ship. What is it?
He's an imp.
What does he do?
Well, if you tell too many lies, he appears at the end of your bed in the middle of the night.
Oh.
A hammock. It's kind of worn out.
I would politely describe it as lived in.
Nice. A real treasure chest.
How do you know there's treasure in there?
Why else would it be locked? Plus, there's a treasure map hanging directly above it. What's the deal with that painting on the front?
Not sure. We should check that treasure map too.
Nothing.
Did you check the treasure map for clues? And what about that painting on the chest itself?
Still locked.
I think there's a connection. Like there are different versions of this.
That was incorrect.
The padlock has 3 different inputs: a letter, a number, and a compass direction. It's just a grid reference for the map.
I did it. What do I win?
Not bad. What was in the box?
More wooden models. These are a little different to the one on the desk.
Sir? Can you hear me? I'm Private Detective Grimoire. I have some questions for you.
Grimoire. Good mysterious name. I'd rather like it. Felix Fellow at your beck and call.
And, this is my colleague, Sally.
Yeah, that's a perfectly good name as well.
Thanks.
If you would, Mr. Fellow, we really need to ask you about the murder.
I must say I'm rather jealous of you two.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Out here solving mysteries, exploring new places, uncovering secret rooms, hidden treasures. That's what life is all about.
Secret rooms?
Generally speaking, you know, that sort of thing.
So, Felix, what exactly do you, do?
Is it not obvious? I'm an explorer. Explorer/treasure hunter. Yes, well, best in the world.
We're talking like curse statues, spike pits.
It's a little more sophisticated than that. But I've certainly seen my share of danger, if that's what you're asking.
And, if I may ask, when did you retire?
You listen here. I may be between ventures right now, but it's simply not in my nature to stay in one place for too long. I go wherever the winds of destiny take me.
Don't you live here with your wife and daughter?
Yes, well, the Fellow family has certain loyalties, and with Flora the way she is...
Nothing wrong with raising a family, Mr. Fellow.
don't misunderstand me. Fiona and Flora are my entire world. They are the greatest treasure of all.
Uh-huh.
Why on earth would you want to know about that?
The murder of Freya Fellow. The reason we're here?
Ah, right. Nasty business. Very unfortunate. I regret that I can't be of any help, but I wish you all the best in your investigation.
Hear that, Grimoire? We're done here. Let's go.
It's a simple question, Felix. I'm sure you're up to it.
There's not much to tell. Mostly, I was in my room by myself, working on Flora's, working on a project.
Your room is quite close to Flora's tower. You didn't hear anything unusual?
What qualifies as unusual?
What have you got?
It was dusk. A feeling lingered in the air. Malevolent, perhaps. Uncertain as life itself.
Abridged version, please.
Right, fine. I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room. The footsteps were calm, orderly, so I thought nothing of it. Shortly afterward, I heard a second set of footsteps, going the same way. This time I could tell just from the sound that something was wrong. So I looked out into the hallway. I got a glimpse of Poppy disappearing down the staircase to the floor below. Didn't know what to make of it, to be honest. I thought perhaps she'd had a disagreement with Fitz, as I know those two are close. So I looked into his room, just in case, but it was empty, as was the garden beyond his window. Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her. We went into Flora's room. Poor Freya was laying on the floor. Fiona, Poppy, Fitz, and Pointer were there already. Flora, too, of course. Soon enough, everyone else made their excuses and left.
Including you?
Not I. I stayed. Flora needed me. Dearest Flora, a remarkable woman. Yes, been married over 20 years now.
You two still get on?
Of course. What a question.
She hasn't gone quiet on you.
It's true she has an independent streak. She's had it her whole life. She's the youngest of 3. Always something of a lone wolf, you know? Just the way she is.
Lone wolf is putting it lightly. She doesn't seem to want to talk to anyone.
She just likes time to herself, away from the company of other humans.
Other humans?
Well, yes, other people, you know. You're the one currently basking in his presence. You tell me.
Let's move on.
My daughter Fiona, our little burgeoning genius. You've met her?
We did. She's going by Fifi these days.
So I've heard. I asked her some weeks ago, what's wrong with your real name? She told me, get this, she wanted a name with an even number of syllables. She makes up the strangest things when she's under pressure.
What makes you think she made that up?
I happen to know the real reason she prefers Fifi over Fiona.
Oh, yeah?
It's what Freya called her. Uncommonly skilled as an artist, but Freya was so much more than her talent. She helped me get started with my own painting, you know. It taught me what she knew about wood carving, too. Tremendous patience. She was ever so good with dear Flora.
Freya and Flora were close?
Oh, yes, especially recently.
How are you related to Freya?
Somewhat distantly, as it happens. My father, Lord Fellow, was her grandfather. Technically, that makes her a fellow. Let's just say there was some discussion over whether she ought to carry the name at all. There's a family tree in the Grand Hall. You should take a look at it.
What about her inheritance?
Freya's parents died when she was around 3 years old. She came to live here shortly afterwards.
Nobody left her a thing?
I'm afraid not. She had no formal claim over anything at Tangle Tower. Fitz? I don't trust him. He's slippery. Never commits to anything. Brain like an onion.
An onion?
Did you two have an argument?
No, but my daughter doesn't like him at all. And I trust Fiona's judgment entirely. She's a very vigilant young woman. Fitz? I don't trust him. He's slippery. Never commits to anything. Brain like an onion.
An onion?
Did you two have an argument?
No, but my daughter doesn't like him at all. And I trust Fiona's judgment entirely. She's a very vigilant young woman. Quite the character, eh? A fellow member of the Order of the Crimson Cloak.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just meant because we both wear, red capes of a sort.
Has she questioned you yet?
If you call that questioning, she seemed bored by everything I had to say. I heard on the grapevine, supposedly Hawkshaw is searching for some rare item, something called the Golden Beetle. Honestly, it's probably a bunch of sensationalist rubbish.
You reckon?
Quite sure. There is no treasure called the Golden Beetle.
How do you know?
Because I would have heard of it. Ah, you found it. What do you think, huh? I had to rush the final touches a little bit. It turned out all right, though.
What's it supposed to be?
It's Flora, of course, surrounded by all her favorite people. Where did you find that?
It was in the library.
Really? How odd. Why would someone lock up a book like that?
We think it's a secret diary.
Aha! Teenagers are funny, aren't they? My daughter Fiona and her best friend. They grow up so fast.
Do you know why it's ripped like that?
Ah, yes. I didn't even notice. No idea. I've been carving for a couple of years now. I was hopeless when I started, but it didn't take me long to master it, as you can see.
Do you paint them yourself too?
I do indeed, yes. Freya kindly taught me the basics. Nowadays, I can make just about anything I can imagine. Of course, this particular model is a self-portrait based on hard fact.
Hard fact, huh? So, you own a sword, Felix?
Of course. I own a great many. But my weapons are stored well away from Tangle Tower. Safety first and all that. Why don't you ask Fiona about that one? Looks like her area of expertise. That looks like it might belong to Fitz. I'm as confused as you are. Rather ugly, isn't it, as far as statues go? Years of wind and rain have not been kind to it either.
Do you know what it is? The creature, I mean.
It's connected to the Remington family history in some way, but I can't recall. That looks like it might belong to Poppy. What's this?
It's my case file. It's how I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
You mean to say you're bound by the limits of what's written in this little document? Sounds dreadful.
I find it comforting.
Charming, isn't it? Yes. Built by the Remington family originally. Dear Flora's father and his associates.
But now it's owned by you? By the Fellow family?
The Fellows and the Pointers have both come to claim a certain degree of ownership.
And who named it Tangle Tower?
Flora chose the name.
What does it mean?
I think it was her intention that it mean nothing at all. Something of a fresh start.
From what?
This really isn't for me to say, but she had some kind of disagreement with her siblings. After they moved away, Flora changed the name of the house. I think perhaps she hoped it would make them feel unwelcome, yes, less likely to come back.
That's kind of extreme.
Yes, it is rather, isn't it?
Does Flora normally keep something in here?
She must do, but I admit I've never managed to work out what.
Why not just ask her?
I feel like if somebody keeps something locked away in a ceramic egg, it's because they don't want to be asked about it.
Rules to live by.
Freya was quite the talent. She had a way of capturing the spirits of her subjects. Not in an evil way, in a good way. That's one of Freya's paintings, is it not? It's impressive, but a little miserable for my tastes. That looks like it might belong to Poppy. Looks like Freya's paints.
Do you know why the pots are cracked down one side?
No, that's very odd. They're normally in excellent condition.
You seem pretty sure about that.
It would have been a beautiful painting. It's rather a shame Freya was unable to finish it.
Nothing about it seems strange to you.
Well, all these modern paintings are slightly strange, aren't they? The emotion of the piece taking over from, say, anatomical accuracy.
What about the knife in Flora's hand?
A knife? That's what you see?
You don't?
Well, as I was saying, Freya's artistic approach distorts certain shapes. Hard to say exactly what we're looking at. It's unlike her to leave paint on the brush.
I think we'll give her a pass, given the circumstances.
Ah, yes, so we shall. Flora's quite fond of that old thing. It's in poor shape, though.
Do you know what happened to it?
Can't say I do.
There's something about Felix's painting supplies. Something suspicious.
Let's ask him about it.
There's something about the image of Flora in the painting. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
So, this painting, specifically that knife in Flora's hand.
Yeah, it's creepy. But we didn't find a knife anywhere in the room. So what's going on?
It's not a knife. We need a clue to compare with the painting. Something to explain what that knife shape actually is. Let's take a closer look at this. The painted knife is actually just a feather from an ink-dip bird.
It's definitely the right shape, but the book's not in color. The thing Flora's holding in the painting is red and white, specifically. Is there anything to suggest that the ink-dip bird is red and white too? This little thing? I don't understand why Felix would make a model of this bird as part of a gift for Flora. And come to think of it, why would Flora be holding a feather in the painting anyway?
The ink-dipped bird was Flora's pet, so she kept a single feather to remember it by.
She kept the bird as a pet. And it died?
Maybe it flew away.
Flora spends all her time staring out the window.
Either way, she kept the feather. I think it was pretty important to her.
All right, so she was holding the feather while Freya was painting her. But where is it now? You'd think she'd keep it somewhere close by.
Yeah, I think she does. Normally. This is where Flora usually keeps her feather.
But we opened it. It's empty.
Mm-hmm. Completely empty. Flora? She's pointing at something in the corner of the room.
It's just a pile of books. They're not... Wait, there's something tucked inside this one.
So, about this paint we found in your room.
Nothing suspicious about it. I used it to paint, obviously. Totally normal thing to do.
We never said it was suspicious.
Come on then, out with it. What exactly are you accusing me of?
It's not your paint pot. Did you take it from somewhere else?
What on earth? It's definitely mine. I even have proof. Look, the lid matches the ones on all my other paint pots. End of discussion.
That's not the end of the discussion.
We need a clue to compare with Felix's red paint. Something to prove who it actually belongs to. Let's take a closer look at this. Freya's red paint pot was stolen and replaced with Felix's red paint pot, but the lids were swapped to hide it.
That red paint is from Freya's supplies, not yours. Swapping the lids doesn't hide what you did.
Why are you bothering me about paint anyway? And none of this is connected to your murder.
This red paint pot was somehow filled with blood before Freya used it to paint Flora.
Oh, that's definitely something. Right, fine. Here's the story. I was busy working on a project when I suddenly realized I had run out of red paint. There was a certain amount of time pressure, so I politely asked Freya if I could borrow hers. Just for a little while, you know. Perfectly reasonable request.
But she said no.
I tried to explain why I needed it, but she didn't seem to care. So, well, I took Freya's red paint pot and swapped it with my own empty one.
You went into her room?
Not my proudest moment, but it's just paint. I didn't touch anything else.
And the paint pot you left behind was definitely empty?
Quite. I have absolutely no idea how it got blood in it, if that's what you're asking.
Why were you in such a hurry to get a hold of red paint anyway?
I was trying to finish this in time for Flora's birthday. I needed red to paint the final details.
Could you not have just used a different color?
Out of the question. It had to be red and white.
If you managed to finish it, why haven't you given it to Flora yet?
Well, I decided against it in the end. After what happened, seemed a bit insensitive. These drawings are quite precious. I'm surprised Flora let you see them.
What happened to the bird? Did it die?
I don't know. Seems likely, though, doesn't it?